Hey, everybody, it's Becky. Thank you for listening to the Real HR podcast. Today, we are doing another episode of Ask a Real HR. And today's question is one that I have many thoughts about. So I'm excited to answer it for you. And that question is, why is it so taboo to talk about money? Now, of course, we are talking about this in the context of workplaces and compensation. And it drives me crazy that people are still so uncomfortable talking about this, even from the employer to the individual. I don't understand why we don't talk more openly about this because people are talking about it. They're talking to each other if they're not talking to you as a company. So, if you have ever listened to me talk, you've heard me talk about your employment brand, which is essentially your reputation as an employer. Now, if you are an organization that is very uncomfortable talking about money, what does that say about your brand? If you're talking to people, it could be applicants, it could be current employees, and you're like, this job is so competitive with our pay, and we have all these amazing things, but you're not willing to tell people what it is. I think you're sus. I don't think you're competitive. I think you're shady. So I think that you need to figure out what is your philosophy and you need to communicate. If you don't, that is saying that your brand is one of secrecy and it's going to breed a lack of trust and accountability from your employees. That is not what we want to have happen. We want to move the other way. In our minds, I think employers have this fantasy that people are not talking about pay. Well, the fact is they are. They are talking to each other about it. And if they're not talking to each other about it, they're going out to websites like Glassdoor and Salary.com, Indeed, all of these different data aggregators, and they're looking. They're going out and they're doing their own research. They're sharing their own data. And so people are talking about pay. We need to get away from this idea that like, oh, everybody just takes their little paycheck home and nobody's talking about it. They are. And of course, that is protected activity. I'm not going to lie. I recently did a handbook review for somebody and they had a line in there about don't talk about pay. And I was like, this has to come out because it is protected activity. People can talk about their pay. You can't stop them from doing it. We don't want to stop them from doing it, right? So don't put that in your handbook. And also be aware your people are talking to each other or they're going out on the internet and they are sharing what they are paid. So that's the first piece of it. The next part of this is that before you can talk about it as an organization, you need to have some sort of formal plan. You need to have a comp policy. You need to have a philosophy. You need to have some procedures in place. It doesn't have to be super fancy. I mean, if you want to come to me and I'll give you something super fancy, certainly we can talk. However, as an organization, even a small employer, you have to have some idea, even if it's as simple as we pay people fairly for what they do. That is a great, simple starting spot. So you can know that and you can tell people that. You can share that with applicants. You can share that with your employees. But you need to have something in place. You need to have something in mind about how you're going to pay people. And again, if you don't tell them, they're going to make up their own. They're going to make up their own story. And you don't want it to be, well, it's a popularity contest. I don't know how they pay people. It's not really fair. It's just who they like, right? Not a good brand for you as an employer. People are not going to want to work for a place like that. So you've got to figure it out, document it, and that's what you're going to share. Now, a lot of organizations, they don't have these policies documented. They don't have procedures documented. Again, you got to start somewhere. Put it into place, come up with some policies, come up with these guidelines, and stick by it. Start. You got to start somewhere. Please. Your people want that from you. A lot of organizations are super secretive, and all they share is what an individual is getting paid and when they're getting paid. And in a lot of states, that's a minimum of what you have to tell people. Often you have to put in writing, all right, this is how we pay. Is it biweekly? Is it monthly? What's the pay period? Are you paid via direct deposit? Is it a live check? Is it given out in person? Is it mailed? These kinds of things are at a minimum what you've got to let people know. Some places stop there. Anything beyond that is top secret. But again, as an employer, if you're not sharing something beyond that, what is that saying about your reputation? So we want to make sure that we're letting people know, but we can think about some of these different levels of transparency. So we can move beyond just here's what you get paid and here's when you get it to some additional components. So one is letting people know what your plan is. Do you do market research? Do you go out and collect data? Do you base it on applicants? If you're going to fill a job and you ask people what are they looking to get paid, is that how you're figuring out what you're going to get paid? You've got something. I mean, you're not just pulling a number totally out of the sky. So that creates your philosophy, and that's what you can tell people. How are we getting to that number? If you're not doing it, then your people are going to go out. They're going to talk to other people. They're going to do their own research, and they're going to come in with a stack of papers that say, well, here's what I'm worth. If you're not doing it, I'm going to come in and I'm going to let you know what I think it is. Right? So you want to have that idea. As you get more advanced and you get a little bit more organized when it comes to comp, then you can start to share more about that plan. Do you have ranges? Do you have a range minimum? Do you have a maximum? How do you figure out where somebody is within that range? One of the things that I hear as far as pushback from employers is they like to tell me, well, I don't want to share that whole range. I don't want people to see the max because then they're going to ask me, well, why am I not paid the max? Wouldn't you ask the same question? If you show me a pay range of 80 to 120, I want to know, why am I not at 120? What do I have to do to get there? You can use sharing that range to your advantage to outline a path forward. So let people know, well, I'm looking for you to be able to execute on X, Y, and Z. I'm looking for you to bring in revenue of this dollar amount. Whatever the thing is that you really want, that like really stretch goal kind of behavior, that's what makes it for the max of the range, and tell people that. It's got to be something that's like realistic that they could actually do it and get there. And I don't mean tomorrow, it might take a little bit of time, but that helps people see the development opportunities that then has the money that comes with it. So put the range out there, let people know internally, as well as on your job postings. I should have pulled it. I'm going to be mad at myself later, but I will tell you that job postings that have a range on them, even if the range is low, those job postings get exponentially more applicants. Some people won't even apply to a job if it doesn't have a range posted. So even if you don't pay very well, by not including it, you're basically shooting yourself in the foot because you are turning people away. Because think about it, back to that whole brand idea. If you're not even going to tell me what the range is for this job, what does that tell me about your organization? What else are you keeping a secret from me? So put that pay range out there, both internally for your people as well as on those postings. Now, some organizations will even go so far as to share the data that they are using to create those ranges. So in my work, I look at a variety of sources, I pull it all together, and that's how I figure out what's going on externally in the marketplace. And when I do that, I don't hide anything, you see it all. And so sometimes the employers will actually go to the individuals and show them and say, this is the data that we're using. They can see exactly where the numbers come from. I actually had a client recently that was looking at some executive comp. And so with that executive, they had actually been engaging with their board, and they were saying that they felt like they wanted a little bit more money. And what the board initially came to them with this year is their bonus potential as well as base pay increase. They were like, I really feel like it should be more. I've had these bigger bumps in the past. So they're having this whole dialogue and this whole conversation, which is when they then looped me in to say, well, we have somebody who's asking for more and we want to be competitive. We want to match what's happening externally in the market, but we don't really know what the market is. So that's when they engage with me. I put all the information together for them so that they can see it and say, here's what a competitive range. You really love this executive. They've done a great job for you. You're getting the results you want. Yeah, they should be at the high end of this range. That totally makes sense. That's all checks out. That aligns up. And so they came back after we had gone through the whole process and they said, we've talked to the executive. They seem happy with where we've landed and what we want to offer. And they asked me, do you think it's okay to share all of this work with them? And I said, yeah, of course. Why wouldn't you? Why would you spend the time and the money to invest in working with a resource to get that data who's making a recommendation and not share it? It adds some validity. It helps them understand how you landed where you landed on the pay. So share what you have. We don't need to keep it all a secret. And I understand you may get questions. It may lead to a little bit of pushback, but as long as you're confident in the work and that data, then go for it. Be prepared to have that conversation and be confident about it. The other thing that we need to do to take away some of this taboo is we need to do a better job in training our managers and working with the frontline staff. Think about jobs that you've had in the past. When you think about the company, who first comes to your mind? For a lot of people, it's your immediate boss. That might be a lead, it might be a supervisor, it might be a department manager. You're probably not thinking about like, oh, let me think about the chief people officer or the director of HR. No, you're thinking about that person day to day. They represent the company for you. So those individuals who are managing others, they need to have the confidence and the knowledge in order to speak directly to their employees. Think again, if you're an employee and you go to your manager and you're like, hey, I'd really like to talk to you about a raise. And they're like, oh, hey, you got to go talk to HR about that. Well, HR doesn't know what you're doing day to day. HR doesn't evaluate your performance on a regular basis, right? Your direct manager does that. So to take away some of the taboo, we've got to do a better job of giving our managers the resources and the knowledge they need to be able to work directly with their employees and to answer those questions. And we can do it. It's not hard. It's uncomfortable, but it's not hard. But once you've taken the time and done the work to educate people, it will make your life so much better because people will understand where their pay comes from and what do they need to do to advance. Again, let's not make pay a taboo thing. If people are leaving your organization and then they come back and they say, I had this opportunity I just couldn't pass up. It's so much more money than I'm getting paid here. Well, shame on you as an employer. You should know what your people are worth. Now, does that mean you're going to match it? No, it doesn't. You have to make a decision about what you want to pay. But by taking away the taboo and actually having conversations about it, you can prevent some of those situations. If you know that somebody wants more money and they're looking, that's great. You know that in advance and you can start to make some contingency plans. Or you can say, I'd love to be able to pay you more. And here's how we can make that happen. Here's a timeline to do it. So let's take away the taboo about pay. Let's just be open and honest with each other. Share real information. Don't make things up. And if somebody comes to you with a pay thing and you can't answer it, don't make something up. Don't lie to them. But let's have some open and honest conversations about pay. That's going to improve your engagement, which is going to improve your bottom line. And then you'll have more money to pay your people more. Take away the taboo. Let's be open and honest. Please send any questions you have to podcast@gorilla-hr.com. I'd love to hear from you.
That's it for this episode of the Gorilla HR Podcast. We hope you found some unconventional wisdom and actionable advice to help you in your own HR journey. Remember, we're all working together to build better workplaces. Want to join in the conversation? Send us your questions, stories, and maybe even your own guerrilla tactics to podcast@gorilla-hr.com. And if you enjoyed the show, please like, subscribe, and share with your network. Until next time.